So when you're having an argument or a debate with people about politics, you're probably coming up with some pretty good facts and statistics. But the number one response that people have is they'll tell you that it's just one thing. They'll say, "Oh, listen mate, it's just one incident, so it's no big deal." However, things are happening every single day and they're really starting to add up. So what we're going to look at today is a list of the worst articles in the entire month. And I'll let you be the judge as to whether or not the situation is fine. You know, as the politicians always try to tell you. So we started this particular one off strong because we saw the Assistant Director of Equality, Diversity and Inclusion for the NHS. And they were being paid almost 92 grand a year. Like, can you imagine that? It's essentially just sending the NHS further down the long slope. Like, that is an absolute waste of money. But one day, right, one of us does have to apply for one of these jobs. Like just applying for a 92 grand job just for a laugh. I would say we'd have a good chance, but I think in all honesty, when it comes to these diversity jobs, I really don't think that we're what they're looking for. And the very next day, because like I said, this is going to be a long slope, we saw corned beef in a locked box in a Co-op shop. Corned beef. I mean, it really does just show how far the UK has fallen. Because now we got pastime favourites just being locked in boxes so people can't steal them. And at this point as well, what gets me? They might as well just do everything in the shop. Because if £4 is the cut-off, I mean, that is pretty much 80% of stuff. Like, if they're going to box and tag everything £4 and above. Honestly, I mean, especially when you come to the Co-op as well. Because they call themselves a cheap shop, but, I mean, you walk in and the prices ain't cheap. But on the way back from the Co-op, we had even worse news than corned beef. Because it turns out that we got clocked by a Uless camera. But we're actually not alone. Because it turns out, right, that with Uless, £218 million worth of fines has gone unpaid. That's £218 million. Like, you can imagine the nerve on these people. Like, they really are holding the line. Like, I do understand that Sadiq Khan is technically a popular politician. Like, he did win the election. So there are some people that actually are a fan of him. But when you see numbers like this, almost £250 million, essentially just being used as a protest. Like, that really speaks volumes. But the traffic problems with the UK, I mean, it doesn't stop with Uless. Because all over the country, low traffic neighbourhoods are being installed. I'm sure you've seen them. It's the one where they put the bollards in the roads that you can't drive through. But in one town, right, in Exeter, the public have actually managed to stand up for themselves and they've actually got the council to uninstall them. And it's not every day that we see good news. I mean, to be fair, it's almost never. But to see the public stand up to the council and actually have these bollards taken down, like I said, that really does show that people power works. And then to sit down, because we had to digest that we did just have some good news. So we decided to take a halftime break and check out this image. Like, it really does say it all. I mean, it's basically the exact same item in Tesco. It's Jordan's Country Crisp chocolate cereal. It's basically just like posh granola. Or just granola. I don't know, I'm not very posh. So this to me would probably be posh. But like I said, it's gone from £1.99 to £3.25. And I don't know the time frame of when this was done, right? I don't know when the first one was to the second one. But what we do know is that it was that short of a time frame that it didn't even give Tesco a chance to remove the previous labels. Like, that's how short of a time frame this has all been on. They haven't even had time to remove the old labels. Like, awful. And because we wanted to see some of this overpriced granola for ourselves, we decided to get in the car and go straight for Tesco. But on the way, we unfortunately hit a pothole. But again, it turns out that we're not alone. Because you can see this article here, where the council are not going to be fixing this pothole for 2 years. And I have actually had quite a few comments of people saying that they are, like, not obliged, but like, the council does have to fix them within a reasonable time frame. Like, I've had a few comments where people say it has to be less than 6 months. Again, I've had one round me that's been there for at least 9 months, but that's another story. But this one here, right, they say that they're not going to get around to fixing it for 2 years. Like I always say, it really makes you wonder why we even bother paying council tax. But it's not just the potholes that are causing some real problems in the UK. Because the very next day we saw something very strange. Because we saw 2 illegal restaurants in Reading, and in total the police found 172 sheep heads in black bin bags on their kitchen floor. And they don't actually say where they found all of the sheep heads. I'm guessing they found them connected to a sheep in the field, and then they just did the deed and just took their heads, as well as probably taking the bodies to sell them. But in total, the police found over 400 kilos of unregulated meat. I know I've made some videos on takeaways in the past, but honestly, this is really making me think twice about the actual ingredients. But then the very next day, I was able to find a list of MP expense claims. This is where they can charge, essentially the taxpayers. They can just charge for things that they want to purchase throughout the day. Because the MPs, they get paid almost 92 grand every single year. So these members of parliament, they're really not short of a few quid. So the fact that we give them 92 grand a year, but we also pay for their expenses, I think that's a bit of a joke anyway. But even more of a joke was the size of some of these transactions. Because I do get annoyed when they start charging tens of thousands of pounds to the country. But I think we need to remember that there are some people genuinely putting through 1p transactions. That is an absolute joke. You're a decent, I'm sure you're a decent person. But can you imagine just putting through a 1p expense claim? The look that I'm sure you just wouldn't do it. I'm sure you'd have a cut-off. Anything less than £5 or £10. You just wouldn't take the mick like that. But maybe you would. But I can't see you claiming for 1p. It's not even worth the time to write it out. But it just goes to show that these members of parliament, they are absolutely in it for the cash. But whilst the MPs are just out there spending money on themselves, they're also spending it on random people from random... what a surprise is that? They're spending money on random people from random places. Because we saw how 90 homes were being given away free of charge. No cost at all. 90 homes in total. But these particular houses have been given exclusively to Ukrainians. No mention of people like me and you. We'd love a free house, but it's really not going to happen. And I know it's cliche, it is a played out point to make. But it's cliche for a reason. We have British people on British streets. But apparently we don't come first because we're housing half the planet. There's people that would have called this a conspiracy theory. They'd have said, oh, calm down, mate. The government's not giving homes to migrants completely free of charge. But it's already happened and it's done so all over the country. And because all of these stories are starting to add up, we just needed to clear our heads, so we took a trip to Wales. But it turns out that it wasn't the most relaxing of trips. Because we saw the Welsh Mining Museum. We saw them get told that they need to decolonise the place. And I'm not sure exactly what that means. I did read the article quite a few times, but as always, it doesn't actually give any definition. But like I said, they want to decolonise the history, and they want to do it through the lens of black, Asian and minority ethnic people. Again, this is deep in Wales. You couldn't get a more Welsh territory. And they're talking about mines that were opened in the 18 and the 1900s, even before that. So I really don't know how many ethnic minority people there were down these mines. But on the way back from the Multicultural Mining Museum, we decided to stop off at the local ASDA, where apparently we saw the same people. Because it turns out that 1/3 of ASDA staff have been subjected to some pretty nasty altercations. Because in the article it said things like drivers, the ASDA delivery drivers. It says that they've been chased down the street. And it says that in store, things like watermelon and joints of ham have just been thrown at the staff as well. You imagine just throwing a watermelon at someone in ASDA. I'm sure if you're having a bad day, and let's say that you get angry one day at someone at the checkout, when you're paying for your shopping. If you get angry at a nice member of public, you're a nice person, so that probably sits on your mind and on your conscience for a good couple of days. Let's say you lost your temper at someone in ASDA. Like I said, that is going to sit on your mind for a couple of days. But there are people launching watermelons. There is no comparison. Launching watermelons. What on earth is going on in the UK? That is awful. But on the way back from a very dangerous ASDA trip, it turns out that we were right in the middle of a 20-mile-an-hour zone. Because it turns out that we saw the biggest expansion of 20 mile an hour that Britain has ever seen. Because we saw almost 1,500 roads essentially just get turned into 20 mile an hour ones. And I know it gets mentioned a lot, right? But that is a very slow speed. Like the next time you're driving out in a car, I'd highly recommend, just as long as there's no one behind you, I'd highly recommend to just drive at 20. And honestly, just see what it's like. Like, it's one thing if they're going to do it outside of a school. I can kind of understand that. I mean, like, safety first and all that. But almost 1,500 roads. I mean, on this one, the council can absolutely swivel. But speaking of people taking the absolute mick, we saw this attempt at parking. Like, you can see there, they've got an electric car just charging from their house. It's basically just coming out of their front door, or at least just down their garden path, where they've got their electric car half wedged on the pavement and half off the pavement, with the owner just nowhere to be seen. Like, that really is cheeky, from a couple of perspectives as well. Because not only do they have that cable going across the whole path, half their car's on there as well. And this is a problem that's going to happen more and more. Because you got to admit, as time goes on, there's less places to park your car. But there's more people than ever with electric cars. So there's less parking, more cars, so they will need to charge them. And the ways that they do that are just going to get more inventive. Because they do need to charge their cars. And I think that we're going to see some very inventive ways to do that. But because we're not awful people who park half on and half off the pavement with the charger coming out the front door, we decided to have a nice relaxing day. But it didn't last long because we started to look at the national debt. And like on screen there, you can see just how high and just how fast it's rising. Because that's every single second of every single day. Like, that is 24/7. Just constantly going up. And make no mistake, right, that is in the trillions. So even if the government started to slow it down now, that's all they can do, just slow it down. There's no way they're going to be able to reverse it. Especially not with the government that we've got. Because it really is just cringe from top to bottom. Because the very next day, we saw probably one of the UK's most widely known charities, which is the Royal British Legion. They decided, just like many other charities and companies, they decided that they needed a 64,000 head of diversity and inclusion. That's 64 grand for a job that is going to provide £0 in value. And what that means, right? What that 64 grand means is that for every person that's buying a poppy, obviously a poppy is about £1, but that means that everyone that's buying a poppy, because of this one job, it would take 64,000 poppies just to break even. Like, before this charity has made a penny, they need to sell 64,000 poppies just to cover the head of diversity and inclusion. Like, one job. And you imagine how big this organisation is as well. Like, they really are just taking our money and they're just taking the mick as well. And it's not just the Royal British Legion either. It's private companies like Tesco. Because you can see on screen here, at a local Tesco, they've installed a security door on the alcohol. Like, not only, I mean, you can see them there. Not only are the bottles just wrapped in a wire mesh, as well as a security tag on top, you've now got these little devices. It's essentially a webcam that goes straight through to Tesco security. And they just check that you're not a dodgy individual. Essentially making the British public just ask permission whenever they want to buy alcohol. And it will start in one shop. Then it'll be 2, then it'll be 4. Then before you know it, this is just run of the mill. And it's not going to be just Tesco either. It's going to be places like Morrison's and ASDA. Then we'll just get normalised to it. And it will just become just the average thing across all shops. But if you thought security was bad in Tesco, I kind of think that they're going to need more security in this next place. Because we saw a job for a cleaner at a migrant hotel, as well as a night watchman as well, like a night supervisor. So they'd either be cleaning the rooms, like cleaning up after these migrants, as like bed linen and everything. That is not something that I'd recommend touching. Or you could be a night supervisor, where you've essentially just got to spend the night in a migrant hotel. And this one hotel had 150 bedrooms as well. So if they're 2 to a room, you've got to look after 300 migrants at night. I do think that some of these jobs, I mean, I am tempted to apply. Especially that £64,000 Royal British Legion head of diversity. But I think with this job here, This has to be one of those jobs which I'm not even going to entertain the idea. Not even going to think about applying. Not even for a joke. I'm not cleaning up after these people. And I don't think anyone from Britain should. But with all of these stories and all of these articles, that was just 1 month. All the way from the 1st to the 30th. Like, that really is awful. Especially when you see it laid out like that. Because what people will say to you is they'll say, oh, it's just one thing. You know, they'll say, I don't know why you're getting so bent out of shape. It's just one thing. But it's absolutely not. And you should never let them gaslight you. I think we just sort of run the risk of everything just blending into one. And once a couple of weeks passed, it is kind of difficult to just tell everything apart. But if you wanted to see more degeneracy, and more ways that Britain is doomed, then honestly, there's only one thing to do. And that's to become one of the very early subscribers. Because believe it or not, you are still an early subscriber. And that is the only way that you can be sure that YouTube is going to recommend these videos to you. You got to imagine they probably do it pretty reluctantly as it is. They're not going to want to suggest these types of videos over to you. So if you want to almost guarantee that you're going to see these videos, that really is the only thing to do. So, thank you for becoming one of the 37,374 subscribers. Thank you to the channel members, and thank you for checking out this video on screen.
This country has gone crazy.